Edit out my worst moments.
Yeah,
Include this. Include me saying edit out the worst moments so that people wonder what you edited out.
oh yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, from the Wall Street Silver community. We have a special friend from the Wall Street Silver community. We have the Happy Hawaiian. Happy, how you doing today, sir?
Doing well. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you. We're happy to have you. We also have Jim Lewis and Lee Justo from the Wall Street Silver community. We have a bunch of questions for you, Happy, that we're going to get right into it. Jim, Lee, who wants to start?
Well, I'd like to start here. I just like to ask Happy, how did you get started at Wall Street Bets? What got you interested in the markets in general? And, and how have you evolved as an investor from that initial step in?
Yeah, so I think most people who get involved in Wall Street Bets probably come for the humor and then stay for the fun investing place. Definitely started off just liking all the memes, the funny videos. I follow financial news and economics, and I'll read all the serious stuff. So then it's also fun to see all of the parodies and memes on the other side of that are a lot more fun. But then, eventually you can't help but start playing in the game yourself. Was actually on a pretty good streak of picking winners until I jumped into silver, actually, so far.
Nice.
But so now I'm in the silver fight, as I would say. But
well, do you want us Happy? Do you want us to ban you from Wall Street Silver so you can go back to Wall Street Bets and start making money again?
Yeah, it was easier. Silver's so complicated. It's hooked me. I've definitely gotten hooked because there's so many facets of it to learn, and it's so opaque of a market that it's like every time you turn over one leaf, you find a whole nother thing you didn't even know about to look into. And
what do you love about silver, Happy?
It's so shiny.
That's good.
Are you hey, Happy? So let's ask this question: are you like all in on silver investments, or is
I'm pretty much always all in on whatever I'm playing at the time, which is extremely smart from a diversification scenario.
Nice.
Or perspective. But I would say, as of maybe like a few weeks ago, I'm pretty much all in. I have a 401k, like I have a retirement account that's just like, oh yeah, that's, whatever shitty retirement fund they force you to be in. But yeah, like my own personal investing money that, I grew with those plays in Wall Street Bets and everything. It's all silver now.
Well, when you do silver, do you do only ETFs on pure silver, or are you playing in the miners at all? What do you like?
So yeah, my biggest position, huge surprise, is PSLV. And then
come on, we know you get paid by them.
Yeah, we know you're a shill. You're a sprott shill. Just kidding.
And I have, so the thing is, and we can talk about this too. Maybe it just naturally leads to the different ways to play it. But I have calls. I have a series of calls on SILJ. Okay. And then I also have some AG calls as well. But I guess the way I see it is you play like the metal or you go like full leverage. Like I don't really care for the in between so much.
So well, that's interesting that you're playing the options on First Majestic and the SILJ, which for those who don't know is the ETF for junior miners. So how far out are you going? And what month are you in? How far out do you play when you do options?
I like to be as far as I can, basically. Like I just want more leverage without getting screwed by time value decay.
Okay. So yeah, you don't. So you don't play the weeklies that are nearby. You're going out to what, like October?
No, I mean, Wall Street
2022.
Bets last year, I was playing just the like early March, April during the meltdown when we got like limit down every day on SPY futures. Like I was doing the coin flip almost, pick every day, weeklies, like just put a little bit of money in and see how many times you can double it, basically, and that was pretty fun. I'm still, I'm still significantly up on my Wall Street Bets plays, but I mean, I'm not DFV by any means. But no,
I heard he's up to 50. He's up to 50 million. He just exercised all his options on GameStop and then bought more.
No. So he's just at 200,000 shares pure now.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's just pure. The market is moving so much, you can't look away, and you just want to gamble like it's a casino. But then, some of the other plays I had, there were more logic behind it. But then silver, obviously I've looked into it a lot. And I think like if I could buy even further out, I would, because I think it's like it moves in decades almost, but it has maybe like 2 years during the decade that it absolutely blows up. So
when? Like Tuesday? What are we talking about?
I would say, I don't know. Do you have calls, Jim?
Yeah.
What month is your call?
I go into October. I'm in October right now.
So I would say November is probably when we're going to double on
okay, probably. That's probably about right based on my timing.
That's good because I have December calls, guys.
So on SILJ, I have August, January, and then January 23. So, and then as soon as June opens up for 23, I'll probably move some into that too. Like I just want to say it at I'll pay the premium to stay out there just because, if when silver hits that quadruple over a year, like you're not going to care if you paid you paid more in premiums because SILJ is just going to go to the moon with everything else. So,
if silver goes up, let's say silver doubles to 50, the miners are going to quadruple. Yeah, and the miner ETF will quadruple. It's or more. I mean, they are so the torque involved is just insane on those miners.
So then you add call options in there, and then you're like 10x levered on those, depending on how far out you go and how big the move and everything. But but see, I see just buying like the baseline stock of miners, the actual equity. I think I'd rather just have the metal, because I see those as basically just deep in the money call options. Because like the miners, they all have a cost of production. If it's a big miner, it might be like 12 or 13 bucks an ounce. So really you can almost view it as like a call option on silver priced at like $12 or $13. And it has a time value. Like people don't think about mining stocks like options with a time value decay. But if silver was at $15 and their price of and their cost of production was also $15, they're just breaking even as they pull metal out of the ground and sell it, and those reserves are getting depleted.
Yeah.
So you're getting time value decay whether you price it in theta on an option or not. Like in my mind, you're going to get that decay anyways. And then, I mean, I've played with margin on PSLV off and on, but I'm paying like 5% on margin a year. So it's not like that. You can view that as a time value of money as well. I mean, you're getting charged extra dollars for getting more leverage just on the base metal. And in my mind, you're kind of helping the whole squeeze movement more by just buying metal versus the miners. You could actually argue, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but you're basically providing capital to the industry that will bring on more supply.
Not only that, Happy, but also you're funding some of the shorts, because a lot of these miners are actually short in stock.
What? Not they sell they sell forward like 1 month's production. They don't. They're not.
Still,
they're not.
they're still in there shorting. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've heard that. I've heard that
They're
both
shorting.
ways.
They're shorting and delivering against the short. Not.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
That's different than someone who's
manipulating.
shorting.
I get it.
And,
Yep.
I guess as a Wall Street Silver member and person who posts a decent bit, I probably haven't watched enough of these interviews, but I don't know if you guys have asked mining executives whether they're selling short futures. Have you asked any of them?
Most of the miners that we've interviewed are exploration companies who aren't producing right now at all. They're more.
I mean, the couple people I've talked to on that say that really just is not happening. Like no one's actually mining metal and delivering it through COMEX. Mm-hmm. Probably partially because there's a refining aspect in the middle. So there's no like direct relationship like that. But although I guess First Majestic has some refining, they'll sell it to you directly. But
I think more what they do is if there's a big price spike and they're expecting it not to last, they'll hedge their production and lock in that price. Yeah. They might not deliver against the contract, but until they do deliver on their contract to whether it's the refinery or whatever,
so
they use those hedges to lock in prices.
Just to jump back though, we were saying you're providing more capital to the industry that wants to flood the thing you're investing in with supply in hopes that the thing you're investing in goes up fast enough that the thing that's supplying it will make more money. When you're buying that miner to get a 2 or 3x exposure. If you're buying a junior miner, maybe more. They're not. A lot of those aren't even producing yet. But it's like, why not just get 2 or 3x margin on the base metal? And I just kind of see it similarly in terms of like time value decay and everything. And I mean, I think Interactive Brokers only charges you like 2%. So
I don't really look at investing in the miners as leading to more supply because you're dealing with secondary shares.
It barely matters. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I'm just saying.
And if the price goes on the underlying metal goes to 50, don't worry about it. Those miners are going to be flooded. All those little junior exploration companies are just going to be flooded with capital to do whatever they want to get mines off the ground.
Yeah, the marginal
the price of the underlying metal is going to lead to more supply.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Are you actually buying physical as well, or are you just buying it through?
I have bought physical as well.
Yeah.
I you can quiz me on my stack if you want. I don't know, but
what's your favorite type of silver?
I have all coins. It's all coins.
Okay, nice.
All 1 ounce coins, but I don't see that as, and you'll probably beat me up on it. You've heard me say it probably a million times, but like I don't really see that super as like part of the squeeze part of the movement. It's more just like, I also can fall for the allure of the shiny, pretty stacks that you see all over Wall Street Silver, and it's like, God dang it! Like,
wait a minute.
I
This whole time you've been telling everyone to get 1,000 ounce bars, and you've been stacking 1 ounce silver coins.
I have way more. I have way more PSLV than I have 1 ounce coins. Okay. I'm not that much of it. I'm not just steering people away, hoping that I get a slightly lower premium on my 1 ounce coins.
Quick question, Happy. Do you have any stack envy from any of the posts on there? I mean, I just get astounded by how much silver some people have.
Yeah.
I don't know, because at some point I'm like, that kind of looks annoying to hold.
Yeah, but 5,000 ounces or so, that's a lot of silver.
Yeah, it's like I buy some physical silver and I'm not even like thinking about selling it, if that makes sense. Like, of course, yeah. It's like that's a fun, tangible asset to like hand down to my grandkid someday. That's kind of how I see the physical silver. And it's like, when you look out that long of duration, like mathematically, it makes a ton of sense to just buy physical. And especially if you're not buying a ton, you're not afraid of it, someone breaking into your house and stealing it and you're losing all your investment.
When we first started doing Wall Street Silver, and people just started posting these wild ass pictures of just insane stacks. And some of I think this was February, some of the comments were like, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be showing stacks like this. This is, this is dangerous and everything. And I was like in the comments going, dude, this is Wall Street Silver. This is what we do. I mean, just get over it.
Were they saying dangerous from like, it's going to tempt me to buy more, or dangerous from like, it's diverting people from buying 1,000-ounce bars?
Probably just location.
I think it was more dangerous, like that you shouldn't be revealing what you have.
Well, mine's hidden in the Great Coral Reef with the sea turtles.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. In every title of a stack picture, you say, so tragic, I lost all of it in a boating accident.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think about
was there an original boating accident story, like, or has that just always been a joke?
Well, it started with the conquistadors, and they had their boating accidents coming back from South America. And of course, none of that actually happened.
Well, I know that's a joke among like the gun community too. So that's why I didn't know if there was one absolute legend of a person who actually like had his yacht sink, and that's been a joke ever since. But anyways, go ahead with the crypto question.
I was saying, Happy, what do you think about Bitcoin and Doge? Are you currently invested in any cryptos? Do you think they will ever bottom out and hit zero?
I don't think Bitcoin's ever going to complete zero. I think it's got too much momentum in it. Plus, related to the boating accident, there's some people who are accidentally permanent holders of Bitcoin because they've lost it forever. So there's always that support, which is nice for them. But although I guess only the marginal price is what matters. So crypto though, so people might not like that I compare gold and Bitcoin, but money to me, or scarcity assets, like they're all just a giant network effect. So whichever network effect that most people are buying into, it will rise in value if the supply of that thing is limited. And historically, the scarcity asset and kind of base money was gold and silver. And it's still valued everywhere in the world. It still has value. You can go anywhere in the world and sell it. So that's what's kind of nice about precious metals, is they're already distributed. Like everybody already has them. You could go anywhere in the world and sell it, like, and people will exchange it for value versus Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. It's massively growing. There are more places you can exchange it for value, but it's in a battle to convince more people to take it. But if you look at gold's industrial demand, it's very low relative to its value. And that's probably because it is so expensive. Like it's not economical to actually use it in many things. So most of its value is from the network effect of people agreeing that it's valuable. Mm-hmm. And then silver, which is a big reason why I like it so much. It has a huge industrial demand base, and the things that it's kind of inescapably good for, which is mostly high-tech applications due to the conductivity and durability, those industries are growing pretty quickly. So that baseline demand will keep growing as supply is, at least the past few years, contracting and ore grades declining. So if you add monetary demand on top of that, then there's not a lot of capacity to absorb that demand. And it can blow up like a crypto if people actually adopted it. I just think the movement so far is actually a lot smaller than probably the people in it feel like it is. Mm-hmm. There's still barely anybody that have bought into silver at this point.
Yeah, we're still
in terms of like new investment. I said it was all over the world. Like there's people in like India who have had silver jewelry passed down in their families for like generations. Like, of course, they've always valued silver. They have it, but they're not like trading it. They're not buying into it as a scarcity asset that they buy and sell into like the Western world with Bitcoin or gold and silver. Like they go into it when they think they need to, and then they leave when they think things are copacetic again.
Well, let me ask you, what price do you think will get people excited with like a fear of missing out type of mentality towards silver?
I mean, everybody's looking at like 30, $32 on silver. Just getting into that zone where it looks like there's not a lot of technical resistance. And I hate the fact that everyone looks at technicals because then it makes it true. That's kind of like the self-fulfilling prophecy. And also, I mean, if there are big players that control a lot of the trading, then they know that other people are looking at those levels and can say, oh, it's going to bounce right off this resistance because like I'm making it happen. And then it gives the technical people confirmation bias and they believe it even more. But really, like if everyone was just buying, at some point, the momentum, like none of that matters at some point. But I would say like in terms of true like society-wide FOMO, you'd probably have to get to a new high. Like there'd have to be an announcement of silver all-time high.
So 51, and you think people go crazy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Let's turn our attention to your best buddy, Peter Schiff. And let's talk about what you've been pretty out there on some comments lately about unallocated silver accounts at First Mint, and you and John Adams have really taken the lead on this issue. John Adams, of course, no one takes the lead more than John Adams.
I would say.
But I think you were posting it actually first, and then he picked up the ball and ran with it a lot louder.
On the Peter Schiff one, yes. On unallocated, he was definitely first.
Yeah.
And when I kept seeing it pop up, I just ignored it for the first few days, being like, I don't even know what this is. Like, I had not even looked into unallocated accounts previously. Like I had seen them on websites of like these various pool accounts, and I was trying to compare them at one point, but then I was just like, why am I even looking at this? Like I have PSLV, the other people are buying physical. Like, do these pool accounts even matter all that much? There's actually a ton of money in them. The more I've looked into them, which is why I think it could matter. Yeah, I mean, I think unallocated accounts are just terrible products, really. It's trying to save pennies and sacrificing like every right you would ever have in a contract. Mm-hmm. And if you actually believe in the investment, why do you care about saving pennies and giving up basically all of your rights in a contract and essentially just having a gift card and lending money? And the thing is, we don't actually know between Kitco or Perth or I think like Fidelitrade, like all the different places that have unallocated accounts, to what extent they are backed or what types of metal back them. Like that's another thing. There's just a lack of transparency that is not something that I like as an investor. But so it is entirely possible that all of these unallocated accounts are just fully backed by metal and they're giving away free storage. But I mean, I don't think that from what I've seen. And I'm not sure why the contract language would be so loose around what they're holding if it's all metal. I mean, I think on the Kitco one, just like front page terms, it's just like it can be represented by metal in any form whatsoever. It's like, okay, well, that's probably paper at some point then. That's where my mind goes. So, I'm just like, why is everybody trying to save pennies if they actually believe in silver as an investment? If you don't think silver is going to rise in value, then I would just not buy it, honestly. Mm-hmm. Like why buy into these private corporation investment accounts where you're basically like buying a gift card to it when there's much safer options?
Well, that's the best analogy I've seen out there is you're not in an unallocated silver account. You're not really buying silver. you're basically giving Perth Mint or Kitco, you're giving them an interest-free loan of your money. And actually, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. They're charging you fees. Like
yes,
Peter Schiff is collecting a 2% or 2.25% as a sales fee for selling. Let's say you buy $100,000 in an unallocated silver account from the Perth Mint, and you're an American citizen, where Peter Schiff is the authorized reseller of these gold certificates.
Jim, I just think you eliminated Peter Schiff from ever coming on the show.
I don't care. I doubt that was going to after what's happened the past week. I doubt that was ever a possibility. You're basically giving an interest-free loan to the Perth Mint with your money, and you're paying. They're taking 2% out for a sales fee, and you basically got a gift card from the Perth Mint where you might get your silver at some point when you request it. And I just don't see where that's a good deal at any step along the way in the process. Did I miss that? Is that how you understand it also, Happy?
Yes. Like, I mean, he's obviously profiting massively from the commissions they get, which is the best thing to sell when you get to sell nothing and collect money. So, yeah, I mean, he's obviously got a vested interest in defending unallocated accounts, particularly with the Perth Mint. And going after Peter Schiff was more of an attempt to, he's actually got a voice. Like most of the small people that worship him as a leader in precious metals, Richard Hayes at the Perth Mint is not going to give any of us the time of day. But if Peter Schiff goes on his show and says, hey, we need to look into this, all these people who are my fans don't think you have all the metal at Perth Mint to back all of these accounts. How about you invite me over and let's look at it on video with this crazy guy, John Adams, that is like your biggest critic. They could just solve the problem right there. That would be it. I mean, even if the Perth Mint CEO came out and said, hey, at the Perth Mint, we have every ounce of metal accounted for at the Perth Mint, that would be leaps and bounds ahead of anything he's said so far.
Didn't he claim they have 60 million or 60 tons?
Yeah. And what he said was there's 60 tons of silver for our depository customers and other customers. And that's like the only number I've actually heard him say so far. So I'm like, okay, that's the only number you're giving me. I'll just I'll take it and run with it and assume that that's for all of your customers. Like you said, this is depository and other customers. They could have the metal. They could have it. But I think it would be much easier to just come out and say you have it if you actually have it. I think he went into that interview, probably he talked to like his peons and said, hey, count up all the metal. I want to say the biggest number I can. And if it ever got investigated, I don't want to get sued. So he was like, yeah, we have 60 tons for depository customers and the others as well, thinking that it would be a lot, but it's really not when you look at the scale of the Perth Mint. So, and
I think John Adams made some comments about that. About 60 tons is really, it's not as significant compared to their liabilities on the books that they've reported.
And the thing is, because Peter Schiff is a big voice and has a chance to clear this up, and if it got cleared up and they have all the metal, all right, we just move on. That's fine. I mean, shoot, I'll get on Twitter and be like, I am so sorry, Peter Schiff. I doubted this whole program, and you proved to me without a doubt that it's legit. Now I'll apologize. I just don't think the metal's there. Otherwise, they would come out and say it, or at least not all of the metal. Given that they are a refiner, there's probably more metal behind that unallocated program than other unallocated programs, but I still don't think it's all there. And I don't think that the contract requires them to have it all there. To some extent, it's not even controversial to the point of, if you read the contract, you're an unsecured creditor. It's a balance sheet. I'm like, why would you expect the metal to be there?
Well, Peter, did you listen to Peter Schiff's podcast after, his response?
I did.
And his argument is, it doesn't really matter whether the metal's there. It's backed by the government of Western Australia, and Lloyd's. I mean, I think and there's a reinsurance contract through Lloyd's of London or something like that. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, the government of Australia and Lloyd's of London, they're not going to come up with silver. They're just going to pay you in cash. So,
some people might be okay with. What I think they would actually do is probably just like drag it out until silver goes back down in value, and be like, yeah, okay, here you go. Here's your settlement.
So if Peter Schiff came out and said, it doesn't matter if there's no silver there because it's backed by the Australian government or something like that, isn't he just admitting to, okay, there's actually no silver there and they'll just pay you out in cash in the end?
He's not admitting it. I don't think he knows either. But what my point is that he's extremely hypocritical for pushing people or recommending people an investment that it might not actually be there. The government is the counterparty, the thing that he rails against constantly as irresponsible. And then he always jokes about Bitcoin being nothing when he's selling something that might be nothing. I don't think he knows whether it is or not. I think he'd like to think that it is, so that his sales stuff, makes sense. But I just see it as hypocritical, really.
I think his comments on Bitcoin are just designed. I follow his account on Twitter, and he's creating a persona for himself as the anti-Bitcoin guy to gain followers.
Yeah,
he the comments he makes on Twitter seem just designed to egg on the Bitcoin fanatics to come at him.
Yeah.
And then so he's just trying to grow his Twitter following with that whole I don't know, what do you want to call that? A game he's playing? Like, come on. And he does these little conversations with his, he's the gold guy, and his son Spencer Schiff plays the Bitcoin Twitter account with the laser eyes on him. And they have these little conversations on Twitter that are just designed to get attention, like father and son conflicts. And it's kind of hilarious on one level if you didn't see right through what it actually is.
Yeah. I mean, his whole business model is set up on selling precious metals oriented investments in all different forms for the most part. So if he's the guy arguing in favor of gold against the flashy thing of the day, he might gain more customers by doing that. But there's also conspiracy theories around. He's actually like all in Bitcoin. He's just getting his son to do it, and but anyways,
you drop your silver.
I was flipping a silver coin to get in the silver mood.
It sure did sound like it.
But could you tell by the resonant frequency of that coin drop that it was silver?
Drop it again.
That's when you know you have a problem.
Yeah, drop it again.
So Happy, can I ask you about like kind of the antithesis of Peter? What about Michael Saylor and his views on precious metals? Do you think he's kind of playing the same game?
I actually haven't heard him talk about precious metals much. I basically just know him as basically like another Winklevoss, extremely pro Bitcoin, willing to risk his entire company.
He is constantly saying, gold is like a pet rock and antiquated and all this other kind of stuff.
The thing with, to be fair, the thing with network effects on scarcity assets is they're all kind of a religion in a way. So everybody's just trying to convince everybody to follow their religion, because the more people that join, it's like it pushes up the value. And, I don't know what silver is in that aspect, some kind of hybrid religion, some spiritualist thing.
It's an ape religion.
But I mean, if people no longer thought gold was money, its value would absolutely plummet. Like a lot would have to happen for that to occur. But it would have a really long reset period to where the things that would have used it in industrial purposes, for industrial things, would have to see it stay low enough to think that they would actually start using it and like incorporate it to all their products. Like it would just be a disaster for gold. But if silver loses some of its monetary luster, which in my opinion, it already did. It already went through that process. And now it's kind of getting a rebound on the monetary side, while the industrial demand has been catching up to the supply. So it's like, okay, if everyone tomorrow decided that silver is not money all over the world, just silver is not money, it's going to crash all the way down to like $15, $18. Like, yeah, we're not going to like that, but that's, 40% loss. It has a floor where you're not losing all of your money, basically. And that floor is rising with monetary expansion, just as all the floor for all scarcity assets rises. So
on that note, Happy, how do you see the forum helping develop silver get more of a mass following? I know Ivan is arranging the billboards in the next couple of weeks. I think that's going to help quite a bit. Obviously, you've pushed the members buying PSLV over, I think, all other methods of kind of pushing forward.
It's my favorite method. Yeah. Like, people should do what, in the end, I guess what's best for them or their preferred method. Like, if you want me to argue in favor of one method, I feel like I can do it. There's advantages and disadvantages to all of them.
Well, you know what I'd like you to do is I would like you to just take the helm of the ship right now of Wall Street Silver and just tell everyone on board what you think they should be doing. That would be the most effective method. All
right. So here's what we're going to do. No one buy toothpaste.
What?
anyways. I do think right now, in my opinion, PSLV is the most effective way behind, say, if you have the means to take delivery of 1,000-ounce bars directly on the futures exchange, or if you've got quite a bit of capital and want to work with a private depository where you get very low premiums and everything. I think that's also very good in terms of just pure efficiency of taking our limited means to buy silver and deploying it as efficiently as possible right now. But the thing is, I think if there's a danger, going back to the whole danger of posting all stack picks, like, people come from Wall Street Bets or other investing sites, and they've got their play money in Robinhood, not Robinhood anymore. Everyone dumped Robinhood. All the other brokers, Fidelity, Interactive Brokers, Webull, eToro, they've got money on there, and they just want to say, hey, which buttons do I pick? Which ticker do I type in to buy this thing? And if they see everybody being like, no, look, here's what you do. You take your money out of your brokerage account, and you're not going to even use a credit card. You're going to wire this shit to a dealer. You've never bought metal in your life. You're going to wire this to a dealer, and then you're going to get metal in 2 months when it's in stock. And then you're going to have to figure out how to sell that on eBay at the end. They're going to be like, what the hell is this? Like, no, I'm not going to buy into this movement. I don't know what the hell is going on here. So that's like, I think it's just easy for people to jump into PSLV. And I think that's where kind of, if there's Reddit capital, it's in Wall Street Bets. So that's why, I favor PSLV.
That's a very excellent point, is
no doubt.
And I've seen that in some of the topics where people start attacking PSLV. And sort of my response in there is, a lot of people have IRA money involved, right? And it's not, James Anderson has ripped into me on Twitter when I say, people with IRA accounts prefer to do PSLV or some sort of ETF, perhaps. They don't want to take it out of an IRA to throw into physical. And then he tells me there's IRA accounts you could have at some of these places. All right. So yeah, that's what I just said. Is not technically, you can still do IRAs in ETF in physical. But what you just described is our audience that we're trying to bring over is a lot of investors, and they want to just know, what's the ticker I can play. And I've tried to develop more of a silver stock culture on Wall Street Silver. And sometimes these guys on Wall Street Silver start attacking it, saying, no, this is physical only. And I'm like, no, that's silver bugs.
Yeah, I would say the first,
yeah, we're
just having been there for a while and really, it kind of look at the branding of the thing, for one, but like it started as the offshoot, like silver got kicked off Wall Street Bets. I mean, that's how I see the origin story of Wall Street Silver. Ivan, you can tell me differently. Isn't that how it started?
Yeah, Ivan was banned.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was banned from Wall Street Bets and a bunch of other subreddits for even talking about silver. And the nice thing I want to point out here is no matter what you're investing in silver, I think it's smart to do like what you were saying. You can do PSLV, but at the same time, in order to really change your life and change your mind, you have to hold a little bit of physical silver just so you get that feeling. Then all good. You can go PSLV, you can diversify into different silver miners and silver stocks, but having that nice physical silver, it's nice to hold too, just to have that feeling.
Well, and I guess if I want to argue in favor of physical, the longer the duration you're going to hold the silver, the more it makes sense to buy physical.
Yeah. And
also, there's also an argument in terms of like the true hyperinflationary collapse. Like, and I'm not even talking necessarily doomsday, but like silver is now $20,000 an ounce, but people are still taking dollars because it's somehow stabilized at some, a tenth of what it was or something. Mathematically, you would still come out ahead buying physical because you're paying a $5 premium now, and the fees on the ETF are a percentage of now a much larger notional value. So you're going to make up that premium much quicker over a much shorter duration if silver explodes extremely quickly and then stays there. If you're trying to, if you think silver is going to rocket higher and have a blow off top, it's pretty difficult to offload a lot of physical silver. At least I've actually never sold physical silver.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been in and out of, like what's the whole process? Like you have to ship it, and then like once it's there, then the price locks, or like how does it even work? Go to a coin store and hope they have enough capital to let you offload your now $3 million of silver.
They'll always have capital for you at the coin stores.
And I guess just now that I have a chance to talk to that crowd, a lot of those people, at least from the comments, like a lot of them don't even have like stocks. They don't have equities or like retirement accounts. It's like, I have my precious metals, my farmland, my horse trading business. Like it's all real estate. It's all real assets. Like there's a group of people who have capital who also don't trust the financial system whatsoever. And they are never going to buy PSLV. So let me just say that is totally fine. Please don't hate on me for pushing PSLV. Like we're on the internet trying to get people from Wall Street Bets to buy silver. Like they're not about to just decouple from the financial system like you have and only buy like physical real assets. So it's like, to those people, I would say buy all the physical silver in the world, because I'm never going to convince you to buy a PSLV anyways. And I'd much rather have you buying any silver. Mm-hmm. But then also it's a hard sell to get somebody to cash out their brokerage account and go buy coins, which is a totally unfamiliar thing to them.
True.
So yeah, I think the answer is there's different people are going to have their different comfort zone about what they want to do. And that's totally cool. We don't have to force everyone into one frame of mind thinking.
Yeah.
Like I've gathered from, I chat privately with a lot of people on Wall Street Silver in the forums that, I get lots of messages, just by being a moderator, you're going to get a lot of messages from people complaining. And the feedback I'm getting is some people think we should be all physical, no PSLV. Some people are the other way around. If a mining topic comes up, some mining stocks post, you get the people complaining, why are we talking about this? And I'm like, everyone's going to have their comfort zone about what they want to do. I mean, I own physical silver and I play in mining stocks. I don't own any PSLV, but I have no problem with PSLV. If anyone wants to buy it, I don't care. But my attitude is on Wall Street Silver, in the comments or in the posts, I don't know why people believe they have to force their vision of the movement on everyone else, because it's just not going to play. Some people want to play the mining stocks at the same time. I own physical silver, and I want to also own some mining stocks. And I think you're sort of the classic everything. You have physical silver, you own PSLV, and you're playing options on mining stocks. You are literally doing every single facet of this, and that's great. And I think everyone should be a lot more tolerant of other people investing the way they see fit in silver.
Yeah. I think what Happy says about PSLV and Wall Street Bets just makes so much sense.
Well, also, again, I think if the branding changed, it would make more sense to be less focused on like a way to play it through your normal brokerage account, because people are going to come from Wall Street Bets, see the Wall Street Bets guy and be like, oh my God, okay, so what call options can I buy and how do I borrow money to do it? Because that's what Wall Street Bets is. Like, I don't know, like I guess you came from, I don't know how long you spent on Wall Street Bets, but like the plays that people upvoted and had fun with were like, yeah, I'm either going to 10x tomorrow or lose all my money.
True.
And silver is, it's a longer duration play than that. Like it just moves slower, but it can move massively still. So, option premiums can be decently affordable on some of these things.
I wish there was more discussion about option strategies on these miners on Wall Street Silver. I mean, I think that would be a really entertaining angle.
Take the capital
on the forum.
If you think silver is going to double over the next year, calculate what you would make on the miners, find an option position that'll make you the same amount, and then buy that, and then take the difference and just buy silver. That's how I view it.
The nice thing I like to do is like a lot of the times during the day or even at night when I'm just inviting people, I like to keep the due diligence at the top for all of you guys, so everyone just learns about it. But then we should add a little option place for that way you can go, because it's nice to diversify topics. It's beautiful to have physical silver and PSLV, but it's also nice to diversify the topic so you could talk about everything and be happy. Be happy.
It'd be nice for one of the forum members.
If everyone would just be happy and buy PSLV, then we'd be good. Yeah,
yeah, I agree.
But the thing is, like, people are going to see the Wall Street Bets guy and they see a similar structure to the forum in terms of what are your plays tomorrow, which always confuses me because isn't it always buy silver? But it has a similar structure, and they're just going to be looking for like, okay, what's the crazy movement everybody's joining into to push silver? And then they're going to run into the guy that's like, look, the dollar is going to collapse tomorrow. If you haven't grown your own vegetable patch yet, you're fucked. But at least you can go buy this silver, and hopefully it'll get here before they come take your children away.
That guy's not lying.
So
it's like they're just going to get scared away, and I think at least.
Yeah. Well, but on another level, though, Wall Street. You look at what's going on Wall Street Bets, and a lot of people are freaking losing everything, right? Or they lose 75% of their portfolio, and it's sort of a badge of honor on Wall Street Bets to post your losses and prove how much you lost, and then you get massively upvoted and you get tons of awards and
you get upvotes for gains too.
Yeah, and you're a hero for a day for losing 75% of your portfolio.
I was gonna say that is like classic Wall Street Bets. But and it's still there. That undercurrent is still there. That's honestly what I joined for in the first place, because it's too much fun. But like I cheer that on. I'm upvoting those and awarding them too. You see a million awards. One of those is from Happy. Silver is something you can put a lot more. Actual silver, I think, is something you can put a lot more of your portfolio into and not be worried of total risk of ruin. You're not going to lose everything. But anyways, there's a new like, I would say, mentality on Wall Street Bets and some of the other forums that I would say kind of started with Tesla, but morphed from there. And it's a holder movement. So it's not, the first 500,000 people in Wall Street Bets and maybe up to 1 million, I would say, like we're the people looking for asymmetric, smart risk reward plus some just absolute recklessness, and let's make fun of people at the same time. But then the next 7 million who joined over a 2-week period are groupthink, let's buy and hold something, and together we're a massive hedge fund that can beat another hedge fund. So you see that with these different stocks. It's like tribes now, and now silver has its own offshoot tribe, and the people in those tribes, they just buy and hold. There's a huge opportunity for a play like this that can take a little longer to just get enough people in the silver tribe, and it just gets momentum, and then more people join, and that's how these things take off, basically.
Well, Ivan and I watched the logs. We see some traffic logs in the moderator tools that show the growth, and it was obvious in February when we were pushing, those initial weeks of February, there was a ton of excitement on Wall Street Silver, tons of new members joining. The page counts were just off the charts from people. And it's died down a little in April, but we're still growing. We're still growing, but just not as fast as we used to. I think that turns around when we start getting above 30, and we get above $30 an ounce, and we're going to start seeing 2,000 or 3,000 people joining a day again when the excitement comes back to the silver market and people are looking for information about silver. We're going to have this nice little home just sitting there waiting, already prepared for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's also why manipulation from big players is so effective, because if you can stop that momentum right as it's going, if you put the fire out after it burns your couch, maybe you can prevent it from burning your entire house down and getting away from you. Like, okay, they stopped the fire for now, but there's a bunch of arsonist apes running around it, trying to start it every 10 seconds. I do think, like, what all happened in that February time frame, and if Wall Street bets had not, obviously there were some extremely turbulent times around, like, institutional finance messing with the GameStop trade. It made them all as suspicious as the deep state silver crowd, but against banking, which, maybe there's an opportunity there. Be like, hey guys, this has been suppressed. We're allies, The fact that the people buying the equity side of it jumped off over the weekend. They were no longer on board. If anything, it was very anti. They were banning people. That's when Ivan started this thing. The bid for the 1,000-ounce bars in the ETFs, I think that lost momentum at the same time that the real coin and bar, like physical side of it, the small coins and bars, that didn't lose momentum. Like, it kept running. So they, over those next few days, and over the weekend, everybody ran out of stock and was like, oh my God, this is blowing up. Let's order more stock than we had before, all the dealers. So did that actually potentially help collapse the thing with them having to hedge more actual coins and bars that they had just ordered to try to sell into this huge influx, while at the same time nobody was supporting the 1,000-ounce bar side of it? So it's like, did we actually just shoot ourselves in the face and stop the momentum? Pure speculation, but something that haunts my nightmares to this day. So that's just such a lost opportunity, I think. We could have easily broken through right there. I think if Wall Street Bets had not started basically the propaganda lie with Citadel and everything, I almost think I'm like, yeah, go ahead.
Have you noticed that Wall Street Bets seems to be rebelling against this pure focus on GameStop lately? Some of the people on Wall Street Bets are just getting a little upset with this monolithic focus on GameStop. They think it's destroying the subreddit to some extent to be only focused on GameStop so much.
Well, and I think, yes. I mean, there's always been people upset about that, but they were drowned out massively by the people who were not upset by it. And if you were trying to be pro silver on there, you were even worse than the people who were just upset about it. The GameStop stuff has actually died down. There's still a lot of people holding it and playing it. GameStop to the moon, I support all you guys, but And I actually have I have a couple shares of GameStop just for the camaraderie. I've sold almost all of it, but what was I going to say? Oh yeah, they list the top mentioned tickers of the day. So back in February or March, I was watching that, just being like, okay, when it's not GameStop at the top by 10x, like that's when I should go post again. But it just never died. So I just decided to start trying to post again regardless. But the past few days, it's been second or third most days. So I think it is kind of getting back to business as usual, whatever that is, post adding 8 million members in a month on Wall Street Bets.
I was active on Wall Street Bets back in December and January a lot. And then it just got so overwhelming once the 7 million people joined.
Yeah,
that it just became too much of a fire hose of information to the point where I just couldn't even keep up with anything.
Well, it wasn't even a fire hose of information. It was just like getting fire hose to the face with annoying water.
Yeah,
and pressure of. I mean, there was not a lot of like logic going on at the time. Like usually these plays are completely reckless and full of humor, but there's like some basis, like this is why I'm making this bet. The GameStop play, though, sure, maybe the December crowd had some basis, but after that, it's just pure momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I see everything right now. Everything's a pure momentum play. So it's like, we just need silver to get momentum, and more people will join. But yeah, go ahead.
Up until March of 2020, I wasn't in many silver or mining stocks at all. I was playing a lot of different stocks, and then when the Fed went to 0% and started doing QE infinity, quantitative easing, and printing trillions, that was in the April-May timeframe of last year, 2020. I just went all in on gold miners, and silver, and now silver miners. I'm no longer, and that's just from a standpoint of I don't trust the regular stock market anymore of earnings or lack of earnings and where a lot of equities are. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me where things are trading at, so I can't trade them anymore. And I did really well in some of my gold mining stocks that have more than doubled. They've come down a little, but I was up 160% on some of these things until August, and I've given back about half of my gains as gold has come back down. But I'm still up on those that I bought back in March of last year. But I don't know if I think I just have a lot of, with everything going on with the central banks in the world and currency, I'm just having a lot of trouble trusting anything but precious metals right now and the miners associated with them. And that's why I've sort of given up on Wall Street Bets and that gambling. I mean, I'm older than some of these guys. And so I've got kids, and I can't just go gambling away, a couple $100,000 on these weeklies or anything. That's why I'm on Wall Street Silver so much these days, is just out of fear for what's going on with the currency and the government and unlimited QE that just seems insane to me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's what brings other people. I mean, I'm not a prepper or anything. I'm not planning to move to the country or anything, but I am really worried about what's going on at a macro level. And that's why I stay generally exposed to silver and gold and the miners. That's just my thinking for why I'm on Wall Street Silver.
I know we all think CPI is probably manipulated to some extent, but even with that, we could get some CPI numbers coming up that could be, headline driving momentum drivers for precious metals that I think are really good opportunities that could come at very good times in terms of supply being tight. So I do definitely like that in terms of looking at it from like a macro side. In terms of unlimited QE, I mean, as long as you think it's going to be unlimited, it's hard to short the stock market, I think, or sell out of it entirely, like retirement account kind of thing. But I mean, as soon as they turn off the spigot, I would not want to be in it. But in terms of fiscal expansion, that's the inflation side of it that I think can really drive precious metals. So if you want precious metals to explode, definitely go cheer on the $18 trillion infrastructure bill or whatever. But
bring on more bailouts, more $1,400 checks for everyone,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. Those are the best because people can just buy precious metals and you get the fiscal expansion. But QE, I don't see QE as inflationary personally. QE is inflationary for assets, whereas fiscal spending is inflationary for the real world. That's how I see them.
You guys have any more questions,
Lee?
For Happy?
I have a ton, but I think we should save them for another time.
Yeah,
edit out my worst moments.
Yeah,
except include this. Include me saying edit out the worst moments so that people wonder what you edited out.
Oh yeah. Well, I've started editing all the videos so I don't stutter anymore or remove it all. And whenever Ivan starts picking his nose, he makes me edit all that stuff out. So.
Jim, don't worry. You still come off terribly. You look
good. I'm gonna edit out what you just said. I can assure you.
All right, sounds good.
You know who else I want to get on? I want to ditch the deep state to get on and start talking about all this comic stuff.
There's no way he's gonna get recorded. He's trying to ditch the deep state.
Yeah, but we're not we're the shallow state. We're very shallow apes. All right.
He's probably got 6 VPNs anytime he types a letter and then switches again for the next letter.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Who else should we get on? Are there any other notable members of the forum that we should probably get on for an interview?
There's quite a bit, actually. There's a lot more people doing due diligences, and there's more people doing incredible posts on silver. So we got to get more people from the community on here. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining the Wall Street Silver video, and we hope to see you soon. Take care, everyone.